You are not going to believe this. Tourists all over social media are calling it the Vegas gouge, and honestly, it's hard to argue with them. A single coffee? $28, a basic breakfast. $100, and don't even think about touching the hotel mini bar. Tiny bags of chips are running $12 each. These ladies paid $50 for a salad. One tourist nearly fell over when his Coke cost $20. And now the numbers are showing what everyone's been feeling. This past June, Vegas tourism dropped more than 11% compared to last year. The once bustling Strip, empty blackjack tables, thin crowds on the sidewalks, and an energy that feels off. People are asking, is Vegas in a slump? The answer: absolutely. Here's the problem. After the pandemic, the casinos jacked up prices, added endless fees, and just assumed the public would go along with it. But people have had enough. Resort fees that used to not even exist, parking fees, something that was always free. Now it feels like every step you take on the Strip has a price tag attached. And the crazy part: the corporations that control almost the entire Strip, basically just two mega companies, don't care. They're still raking in cash by squeezing high rollers, tightening machines for smaller payouts, and nickel and diming every guest. The everyday tourist, the workers, families, couples, those folks are being pushed out. That's why downtown casinos and off-strip spots are seeing more action. People are finding alternatives. But even there, it's not perfect. The Strip sets the tone, and when they add fees, others follow. It's a trickle-down of bad behavior that hurts not just visitors, but the people who live and work in Vegas. Take Sebastian, a local hospitality worker. He told reporters that last year, his phone never stopped ringing with work. This year, silence. He was planning on starting a family, buying a house, the so-called American dream. Now he's wondering if he can even afford a mortgage, and he's not alone. Strip workers are struggling as fewer tourists come through, especially at night prime time. And it's not just Americans staying away. Canadian visitors are down nearly 20%. That's huge, because a big chunk of international tourism here comes from Canada. So what's Vegas doing? They're literally sending sales teams out of the country to beg people to come back. Think about that. Vegas used to sell itself. The lights, the shows, the energy. Now, they're basically door-to-door salesmen. But here's the truth. Unless Vegas fixes the root of the problem, making things affordable and fun again for the average visitor, it's not going to recover. Flying in high rollers and chasing rich tourists won't save it. And until something changes, people like me will keep reminding you, Vegas isn't what it used to be. We have to keep this conversation alive. Not because I want you to rush back and spend money, but because if we forget what made Vegas great, we'll never get it back. And old Vegas, it was something special. I've collected a few stories from longtime visitors and workers who remember when Vegas truly felt like the people's playground. Keep these memories in mind, because they show exactly what we've lost. Story number 1, $39 rooms and $2 shrimp cocktails. I was barely 21, broke, staying at the Old Sahara. My room cost $39 a night, no resort fees, free parking, and coupons for $2 shrimp cocktails. The Strip was packed, people with giant margaritas in hand, street performers everywhere, and you could wander into any casino without a single care. Nickel slots, free cocktails while you played even if you were only betting a dime. Cheap meals everywhere. $4.99 prime rib specials, $1.99 breakfasts, and shows you could snag tickets for just by sitting at a table. Compare that to today, $199 a night plus a $45 resort fee, $25 a day just to park, and $18 for a basic gin and tonic. That magic of cheap thrills with big rewards? Gone. Story 2. The legendary $1.99 steak and eggs. Back in the early 2000s, it wasn't just a meal, it was an experience. You'd stumble into a buzzing coffee shop at 3 a.m. Locals, tourists, night shift workers all eating side by side. A juicy steak, eggs, hash browns, and a Bloody Mary for a buck more. That was Vegas. Saying, win or lose, we've got you covered. Now, that same spot is a sleek, sterile gourmet restaurant. Breakfast is $27 without coffee. The vibe is stiff and nobody lingers. The food might be fine, but the feeling is gone. Story 3. When parking was free and laughter was everywhere. I started as a valet on the Strip in 2005. Fridays were electric lines of cars, wrapped around the block. Music blasting, families unloading, Lamborghinis pulling up next to rental vans. Parking was free, tips were generous, and the night felt alive. That energy has faded. Now parking alone costs a small fortune, and the joy that once defined this city has been replaced by spreadsheets and fees. Vegas used to be about possibility for everyone. Whether you had $20 or $2,000, you could be part of the magic. Now it feels like that magic is reserved only for the rich, and until that changes, Vegas will keep losing what made it truly shine. So remember, this isn't just about overpriced coffee or $50 salads. It's about fighting to bring back the Vegas we all loved, the one that felt like it was on your side. There was a time when stepping out of your car in Vegas felt like stepping into another world. The moment your tires hit the curb, someone was there to greet you with a smile. Valet was free, parking was free, and the vibe was that you mattered. Guests would step out grinning, already in party mode, and because they weren't nickel and dimmed. Before setting foot inside, they tipped generously. We got to know our regulars. There was this retired firefighter who drove in from Arizona every couple weeks in his Mustang. He'd toss me the keys, slap a 20 in my palm, and say, "Take good care of her, son." By the time we brought his car back at the end of the weekend, he'd be laughing, swapping stories about the tables, and inviting us to share a drink sometime. Then came the paid parking. Management called it progress. We all knew it was a cash grab. Suddenly, people were frowning before they even reached the front doors. A $25 fee just to park your car soured the mood instantly. Tipping dried up. Locals stopped showing. Out-of-towners started taking Ubers. The driveway that once buzzed, with energy, turned into a dead zone. No music, no laughter, just a row of valets waiting around for someone who never showed. Vegas used to roll out the red carpet from the second you arrived. Now it feels like the meter starts running before you've even locked your door. And it wasn't just parking. Let me take you back to the Buffetts. In the late 90s, I was broke. Like digging through the couch cushions broke. My buddies and I would save all year for one big Vegas trip, maybe $300 each to cover hotel, gambling, and food. We stayed at the old Frontier 39 a night for a room that smelled like smoke and had a view of a parking lot. Didn't matter. The real prize was downstairs, the $4.99 all-you-can-eat buffet. For $5, you got mountains of pancakes, bacon crisp enough to shatter, eggs cooked every way, and coffee so strong it could bring you back from the dead. The staff didn't rush you. They let you sit there, nursing your hangover, eating until you were ready to roll into the $5 blackjack tables where dealers cracked jokes like they were part of the crew. Fast forward to now, I went back hoping for that same magic. The Frontier's gone. We stayed on the Strip, $189 a night plus a $45 resort fee that gave us nothing. The Buffet, $38 a head, coffee not included. We tried it out of nostalgia, but the staff hurried people through, the vibe was stiff, and the artisanal coffee tasted like burnt water. What used to feel like Vegas wanted you there now feels like Vegas wants your wallet. And I'll tell you what really hit me. The dealers, back in the Stardust days, dealing blackjack felt like hosting a party. I knew my players. Regulars came back year after year. I knew their lucky charms, their favorite drinks, even how they liked their cards pitched. If you treated me with respect, I'd slip you a comp for dinner or a lounge show, whether you were betting $10 or $100. The floor was alive. The bosses smiled, the cocktail servers hustled but still joked, and the stories flowed as easily as the drinks. You could win, lose, laugh, and still feel like you were part of something special. Now, I deal at a slick corporate property. Pit bosses hover with tablets, timing every shuffle, counting every hand per hour. Slow down to chat. Joke too much? You get written up. Comps? Forget it unless you're burning through $50 a hand for hours. You're not getting squat, players notice. They come, lose quick, and leave. Entire nights pass without a single laugh at the table. Vegas used to be an escape. Now it feels like an invoice you're paying in real time. And what about the lounges? I used to finish my shift and wander into a lounge where, for a couple of bucks, you could sit 10 feet from a live band. No cover, no gimmicks. Just good music, cheap drinks, and an atmosphere that made you feel like you stumbled into something special. There was this singer, Tony Marino, greasy hair, a tux that had seen better days, but when he belted out Sinatra, the whole room froze. He'd dedicate songs to honeymooners, tease the bachelor parties, wink at the waitresses. For the price of a $3 gin and tonic, you felt like a high roller. Today, the lounges are gone. If you want music, it's $100 a ticket to a polished corporate show, or you're shoulder to shoulder in a nightclub so loud you can't hear yourself think. The soul is missing. Vegas once gave you moments you didn't plan for. Now everything feels scripted and monetized, and then there were the showgirls. The feathers, the rhinestones, the glamour. I knew performers who said stepping on stage was the proudest moment of their lives, and the best part. You didn't need to be rich to see it. 25 bucks got you into a full production that made you feel like royalty for a night. Now it's $200 a ticket if you can even get in. The costumes look mass-produced, the intimacy is gone, and guests walk out calculating what they spent rather than remembering the magic they saw. Vegas once sparkled for everyone. Now it only sparkles for those who can afford the cover charge. And that's the heartbreak. Vegas used to be about memories. Now it's about receipts. But here's the thing, we don't have to just sit back and watch it fade. If we talk about it, share our stories, and vote with our wallets, maybe, just maybe, we can bring back some of that magic. I'd love to hear your stories. What Vegas was like for you then versus now. Let's keep the memory alive, because if we stop talking about it, it disappears. And I, for one, refuse to let that happen. Thanks for watching. This one was a little heavy, so if you want something to remind you of why we fell in love with Vegas in the first place, check out next video about the golden years when Vegas truly knew how to shine.